In this video, we are going to review two nearly identical screens for the fiscal year Nexus Consolidated Application. They are the Title I Part A Allocations to Facilities screen and the Title I Part D Allocations to Facilities form. These screens are related to the Title I Part A Neglected and the Title I Part D Delinquent grants. Let's jump right in. I have already clicked on the navigation slide menu to go to the Title I Part A Allocations to Facilities screen. When you first enter the screen, you will see there is a blank table for the allocations to facilities. First, you'll need to add a row for each facility that receives an allocation for the current grant cycle. You will add a row to each facility by using the screen slide bar at the bottom of the screen to move to the far right side of the screen. When you get to the far right side, you will see there's a blue and white plus button to add a new row. Click on that button. Now we are going to slide back left of the form so that we can add a facility name to each row. In the first column, entity name, you will see there's drop-down boxes to pick from. I select a unique facility name for each row. In this demonstration, this district only receives one Title I Part A neglected grant, so there's not a unique name for the second row. We will not choose anything. We are going to go ahead and click on the Save button to save this form and pull in the calculated allocation amounts that MDE loads into the grant. Now that you've pulled in the facilities allocations, as well as many other available funds such as carryover, transfer funds, indirect costs, and administrative costs reserved, you are ready to accept and allocate these funds to the facility level. First, in the third column, we are going to accept the amount of allocation for each facility by typing that number into the text box, just like you did on the review grant screen. You will notice how much was available funds, how much has been allocated changed, and the remaining balance will have changed when we click out of the box. Next, if you accepted carryover funds on the review grant screens for Title I Part D, or determined there was Title I Part A neglected carryover grant funds available for the neglected facilities from last year's grants, those were accounted for on the Title I Part A Public School Reservations and Carryover Distribution screen. And they were pulled in to this Title I Part A Allocations of Facilities screen, showing as the available balance or available funds. So let's go ahead and allocate those. Since there is only one facility, we will allocate the carryover funds in its entirety to that one facility. Next, also on the Title I Part A Public School Reservations and Carryover Distribution screen, you could have determined as a team to reserve additional Title I Part A regular or basic funds for the Title I neglected facility. We did not choose to do that on the previous screens, so there is nothing needed in this fifth column. Let's continue to move to the right to see about what kind of determinations our team made about transferring funds to the Title I neglected facility, as well as administrative costs. So on the previous screen called New Funds Transferred, it was determined by this demonstration team that Title II and Title IV would have some available funds transferred to the neglect home and the neglected school budget. So let's go ahead and allocate those by filling in the text box, making sure that our remaining balance is 0. We'll do the same with Title IV. Our remaining balance is 0. Next, we are going to go over to the last couple of columns, which are our actual indirect costs for this grant and our direct admin. Again, these determinations were made on previous screens and have pulled in to show the available balance for each. So let's go ahead and click Save to figure out what is our max indirect going to be. Okay. So as we use the scroll bar at the bottom, you will see 5%, 5.02% of the facility's accepted amount is $393. We only had allocated 200, so we can add that all to the actual indirect cost text box for the facility. And then we are going to do the same with direct admin. The available balance is $250. We only have one facility, so we're going to allocate it to the one facility. And we're going to hit save again to make sure that our error of everything has to have a remaining balance of 0 has cleared. And our error has cleared. We do see that the last time this was saved was just 1 minute ago. So we have our timestamp showing that this page has been saved. We also have a check box next to this form now on the navigation slide menu to show that there is no longer any errors. One last thing just to clean this up. We see that there's a blank row. Let's go ahead and slide all the way over to the right. Use this red and white delete remove row button. Click on that. Confirm in the pop-up box to delete that row. And let's hit save one more time. That is how you complete the Title I Part A allocations to facilities form. And these budget decisions will then pull into your other budget pages along the way for your fiscal year 24 Con App. Let's run through this process one more time, and this time we will do that on the Title I Part D allocations to facilities form. So again, looking at the navigation slide menu, you can see we have not completed this form yet. It does contain some errors. And you can see our error in our attention message up at the top right hand of your screen that says remaining balances for each column must be 0. You can see our available funds. Right now we have no allocation pulled in because we have not yet added our facility names into this table. We will add those in just a moment, but you will see the available funds are pulling in from some of those other screens earlier in the Con app. So let's go ahead and use our screen scroll bar, move to the far right of the screen and add a couple additional rows for our facilities. Then we're going to use that scroll bar and go all the way back to the left to add our facility names. This demonstration has 2 facilities, and as I said before, you do not want to duplicate that. But let's say we accidentally do, we hit save, we will see that the amounts will pull in for the allocation that was determined at the Michigan Department of Education and uploaded into your application if you are a fiscal agent for these facilities. You will see we have a couple of attention or error messages. One, that selections of the entity names need to be unique. They cannot be repeated. And then all of our remaining balances for each column must be 0. So let's go ahead and accept our grants, our allocated amounts to ensure that they are selected. You will see if you go ahead and accept those monies twice for that duplicated, you will actually end up with a negative remaining balance, which shows you that there is an error. Again, we can get rid of the second row here. We can get rid of this duplicated name by sliding all the way over to the right and deleting that third row with the remove row button. We'll hit confirm because we know that's not an error, and then we will complete the rest of the table. You'll notice if I hit save again, that second error will be refreshed and removed since we took care of the unique names. Title I Part D in this demonstration did not have any carryover to accept on the grant review screen, so therefore it is 0. Nothing will be needed to be completed in that column. But we did, as a leadership team in this test case, say that we wanted to have some funds transferred from Title II to Title 1D, as well as Title IV to Title 1D. So let's go ahead and allocate those out to our facilities. We're going to go ahead and say for this test case that we're going to distribute the transfer from 2 evenly between the 2 facilities, while for Title IV, we will just transfer to the 1 facility. Again, that's part of the leadership decisions your team can make while completing the consolidated app. Then we'll continue to go over, we have zeros all for our added funds. Now let's go ahead and go to the far right of the table to account for our administrative costs that we had decided during the new administrative cost screen. So we said we wanted some indirect costs. We only accepted $500, so we're not going to go over that error or that max for either facility. And so we can put it on either spot. Let's, for today, for this demonstration, put it in the second facility. If you do go over this max indirect amount, you will get an error check to remind you of the max. Additionally, for the direct admin costs, we need to allocate that to the facilities. We can do it in any combination between the two. Again, for today's demonstration, we'll put the majority in the second facility, but we will add a little bit to the first facility. We'll hit save to make sure we have cleared our error and completed the whole table. We have our new date and timestamp telling us when it was last saved. And we also have our check mark icon next to our form to show that it's been saved and it has no additional errors. So it is ready to complete the rest of the consolidated app and will not cause any concerns while being submitted.